Hello, hello, hello. It's that time. Welcome to Live Live, a place where we meet up to receive motivational, inspirational, and activational strategies for those challenging and changing life moments. I am your host, Keela Bryson. Well, guys, it's another Monday night. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Guess what, everybody? This is the last Monday night of October. The next time we get together, it will be November. Can you believe that? It's almost November, and it's almost time to fall back with setting our clocks back an hour later. So many of us are going to be able to catch up on a little bit of rest, I would assume. At any rate, I just wanted to touch on that to let you know that it's time to really pull it on in and wrap up this year 2014 with whatever plans or dreams or goals you had in mind to accomplish, because the year is almost over, everybody. You have, after this month is over, you have exactly 60 days to get your plan completed for 2014. That, I don't know, is that good news or is that bad news? I guess if you're on course, then that would be good news. So I just want to bring that to your attention, how fast time is moving. Therefore, we should be aware of the time so that we can stay on course and get the things done that we need to get done. You know, we've covered a lot of topics over the last several weeks, from no longer drifting in neutral, being in the right place at the right time, stopping our minds from working against us. We talked about committing our plans to God so that they were successful. And this week we are talking about a subject that I haven't spoke on yet since we've done the Live Live calls on Monday nights. But I was thinking, we've been talking about setting goals, staying on course, staying focused, basically self-help techniques to help us to better ourselves individually. Because I believe that before we can be successful in relationships with others, we first got to develop and improve ourselves individually. And I know that we live in a time where people are wanting to be in relationships, good, healthy relationships with folks. But, if you are not healthy yourself, then there's no need in trying to hook up with somebody else. We first want to get our individual lives together. And that's part of the reason why we've been having these Monday night calls, because we want to develop ourselves, improve ourselves with all the different topics we've been discussing. That way, when we connect with somebody else in a serious relationship, we will have some success because we've been working on ourselves individually. Well, tonight I want to talk about cultivating successful relationships. And you know that in order to have a successful relationship, you have got to cultivate it. And the key word there is cultivating, because cultivating, when you think of that word, we think of farming, because in order to have a harvest or to plant crops, you have to cultivate the ground, so to speak. And if we're going to be successful in our relationships, we have to cultivate that relationship. In other words, to cultivate means to farm or to grow or to plant, to nurture, to plow, or to support. And most people want successful relationships but don't realize that there is a certain level of work that's required in order to have success in anything, and especially in relationships, and especially so in marriage. It requires work. A lot of people are not successful in their relationships or in their marriage because they're doing the opposite of cultivating, and the opposite of cultivate is neglect, overlooking, negligence, inattention, distraction, and desertion. And a lot of people are not being successful because they're overlooking some things in a relationship or in a marriage, or they're being negligent, or they're deserting the person that they're with, or they're inattention. They're not paying attention to certain things about the person that they're with. And anytime you're going to have a successful relationship, you have got to cultivate. It requires work. This is not just show up and shower me down with love and blessings and gifts and all of that. There's some work from both parties of a relationship in order for it to be successful. And so that's why tonight I wanted to touch on having successful relationships, because I know a lot of people are in this particular place in their lives or either desiring to be in a successful relationship. And I just kind of want to give you some tips and some advice, some encouragement, some direction and guidance on how to have a successful relationship with the opposite sex, because it's no easy task trying to learn somebody. You know, and when you're with a person in a relationship, you want to be happy. You want it to be successful. And you don't want your work and effort to turn out to be a failing effort. You want it to bear some fruit. And I think a lot of people are not having success in their relationships because they're making some simple mistakes due to lack of knowledge, or either they just may be selfish in some ways that they didn't realize that they were selfish in. So tonight I have a very, very special guest with us to help me with this subject tonight. And I have Mr. Grover Bryson on the line tonight to assist us. He's going to assist me tonight and provide us a male perspective with regard to cultivating successful relationships. Now, Mr. Bryson has been married for 23 years. He's been with the same woman for 25 years. Can you all believe that? Yes, there are still some couples around here who are sticking and staying and working it out and still in love. And Grover has two daughters, ages 21 and 7. Grover is a man full of common sense, and you will hear that on the call. He's full of wisdom, and he's a very matter-of-fact guy with his advice. He doesn't hold any punches, and he doesn't go around the bush. He just shoots you with the facts and the advice. Grover, we welcome you to Live Live. I'm excited to have you with us tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Oh, wonderful. So glad that you're here with us tonight. And I know our callers are going to be blessed by hearing your advice. I know I've listened to you over the years, and your advice sometimes tickles me because it's so matter-of-fact and blunt and so true if people would just take heart to it. So, Grover, you've dated, and prior to marrying your wife, you dated and you were in relationships at one time in your life. Can you tell me, looking back at where you were then and looking at relationships in today's time, how have relationships changed over the years?
Have they changed? You talking about, well, let's start by saying this. How I think relationships change, as far as on a man's side. These guys now, matter of fact, let me say this. I had a young lady once stop me in Kroger and was asking me about the relationship she was in. Her soon-to-be husband didn't want to help her with the children, and didn't even want to buy diapers or anything. I don't know. These guys now, they're just a whole different generation. Some of it is because of the lack of not having a father in their life. You know, women have to understand you can't be mama and daddy too. You can only be the mother. You cannot be the father. I don't care if you can put on a pair of pants all you want to. You cannot be their father. So, therefore, I really believe that a lot of guys is just liking not having a father or a real good uncle, grandfather in their life. They're just not being fathered at all. So if you're being raised by your mother, thank God for mothers. But if you're being raised by your mother, then all you know is that a female take care of you. You don't understand the role of a man.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is that one of the big changes that you've noticed in relationships over the years is that a lot of young men are being raised by women, and they don't really have that male example, and so as a result, they really don't know how to demonstrate or execute being a good person in a relationship, a dating relationship, or in a marriage. What are some changes you've noticed in women over the years with regard to relationships and dating? How have women changed?
Well, women have taken on the role of the lead. They're more educated. They're go-getters. They're fighters. Whether they are married or not, whether they have children or not, they're not going to let anything stop them. And that's a positive point on women. On the flip side of that, then you have the women that like the bad boys. I don't understand it. I probably would never understand it. How you can sit around and know this guy have multiple partners, and you still with him and waiting on him and begging him, and really even have children by him and fight over him. I never understand that. I have 2 daughters myself, and I try to talk to even my 7-year-old. I talk to her, and my 21-year-old talk to them all the time because I will not allow them to accept anything.
I see, and I agree with that. You touched on having 2 daughters and how you're teaching them to not accept anything. Can you go in a little bit more detail of some of the things that you've taught? I know you have that 21-year-old, and I'm sure, she's in that dating mode. And more specifically and more in detail, what are some of the things and the conversations that you are teaching your daughters or bringing awareness to them about?
Well,
having a successful relationship.
My 21-year-old, yes, she's of age, of course, to date, and she has dated in the past, and so some of the things I try to tell her to look for in a guy, and of course I know some of she patterned them somewhat after me, and I think I would be a good role model for her. Of course, you can't expect a guy to be just like your father, but you do look for some of those characteristics if you have a good father. You do look for some of those characteristics. And so I try to teach her to what to look for, what to expect, and I just be straight up honest with her what guys really are about and what they're going to do, what they're going to try to do. Because I also once a young man, and I've done some things that I shouldn't have done. And, but the bottom line is that's what I'm here for, to teach her. And if she listens, and she does listen very well. It doesn't seem like it sometimes, but she listens. But if she listens and she do understand that these guys out here, most of them, from what I can see, they're not gentlemen at all. They listen to a lot of rap music. I'm not knocking rap music. I like rap music. But you can't live your life according to a rap music in a video game. If that's all that you can bring to the table, then there's no need you looking for a young lady that's trying to go somewhere and have something. Now, most of these women now, including my daughter, she's getting her education, she's moving forward with her life, trying to be successful in life. And so, therefore, she's looking for a guy on that same level.
Right, because nobody wants to be with somebody who is not compatible with them, somebody who can't keep up, somebody that they got to kind of keep nursing, so to speak. You want somebody that can flow with you, somebody who can grow with you, somebody who can understand you, somebody who can stimulate you intellectually, and not just somebody who looks good. And you need somebody who can stimulate your intellect, because there are many dimensions to a woman just as it is with a man. And so when young ladies are looking for guys, I always tell them, don't look so much on the outside. I know there has to be some sort of physical attraction there, and that's fine. But you also need to dig deeper and see what kind of character and morals and spirituality does he abide by. What is his relationship like with his mother, his father, his sisters, and his brothers? Or what are his goals? What is he trying to do? What is it that he wants to be? Or are you noticing that this young man seems to be the type that sits around and waits for his mom to do everything for him? Cook, wash the clothes, clean, cut the grass, tell him when to get up, when to go take a shower, when to pay the bills? Or is this the type of guy where he's getting up and he's making things happen, even if he is growing up with a single mother? Is he the type that gets up and help his mom? Does he get out and cut the grass without his mom asking him? you're looking to see, is he polite and mannerable? Is he the type of guy who wants to meet your parents, or is he the type of guy that's trying to avoid coming over to your house because he don't want to meet your parents? That right there is a concern when you're dating someone who doesn't want to come around your family to engage and to meet them. So those are some good tips on the things that you're teaching your 21-year-old, because one of the worst things you can do is get with somebody who can't keep up with who you are and with where you're going. And that's another thing as a person in a relationship. You got to look at that person in the present and in the future. Do you see them in your future? Are they the type of person who can hang with you in your future? A lot of people break up in relationships because that person worked for them when they were in one phase of their life, but as that other person began to grow and develop and mature, then that person no longer really fit, or they wasn't compatible, or they didn't grow with them, and as a result, that can create some problems. Now, those are some of the deep things that I think we need to teach young people to pay attention to, so that you don't just get caught up on that physical aspect.
Well, that's
so,
true.
Go ahead.
Well, that's true. Opposite, but you also have to understand the opposite do attract.
Mm-hmm.
Two people that are the same are definitely not going to get along. So there has to be a little difference there.
Right.
Let's see. For example, I know for sure my wife and I, opposite does attract. I was attracted to her because she still is. She's a very beautiful person, inside and out. She's a go-getter. She's very supportive of me, the things that I do and I want, and in return, as men, and we're not that good at that. We say we are, but we're not, because what men do as for support, we do more for, like, we try to do it like money. But you have to do in support. That woman needs your time. She needs your encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
She needs more than just go out and pay a couple bills or give her the money to do something. She needs you to be there for support, because when there won't nobody else cheer her on, you have to be her cheerleader. That's when you become the cheerleader on the sideline.
Right.
So opposites do attract. I think that always there'll be a little difference there for anyone. So don't get me wrong. I know most ladies like their man to be. You want an intelligent man, but you want him to be a little roughneck when he has to be.
Right.
And I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, in any relationship, marriage is a job. Now, don't get me wrong. It is not a hard job. It's a job, but it is not a hard job. You can make it hard.
But you're going to have to work. You got to work it like you're doing a farm. You got to plow. You got to nurture. You got to water it. You got to do something. If you don't do nothing, that relationship is not going to be successful. You've got to do something to help it grow.
It will become stale.
That's true.
And that's why
I know you don't.
Divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Young people
cultivating.
What the young people have to understand and try to do is, divorce is the easy way out.
Yeah.
If you want to marry, everybody, wants to get married and have on that beautiful dress and the tuxedo. The marriage starts the day after.
Mm-hmm.
That's when your marriage starts.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you clock in. That's when you punch in, and the job starts.
All right, let's move on to the next question. I know you don't have any sons, but for any sons who are listening on the line tonight, what advice would you give to them regarding a relationship that's on your heart?
Well, no, I don't have a son. If I had a son, I would definitely try to have him to pattern himself after me. I have 3 sisters, my mother, and I've always been around, females, of course, and I've always had a great deal of respect for females. Like I said, I do have 3 sisters, and so I really feel like all young men, whether you have a sister or not, always respect. You got a mother. All men got a mother. You might not have a sister, but you got a mother. You wouldn't be here. All men All young men should respect a female. I don't care. No woman should be called out her name or disrespected in any way. Not in my book. Always respect her. If you can't compliment her, don't say nothing at all. You know, a lot of guys, like if I had a son, I would teach him always look at the heart of the person. What she got? Look at her heart and her mind. Like you said, a physical thing, that's good too. But all physical, I mean, what did you call physical? A Coca-Cola bottle? You know, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But don't pass up. Don't pass up your future wife or your blessing for what you see on this video.
Well, that's
I
true,
believe that all women, I think all men, these young men, I think they mean well. They do. It's just they just don't know.
Right. They need to be taught and guided. They need some
be taught and guided. If they see men treat their mother like that, then that's how they're gonna treat women. So some of it starts with the mother. She gotta hold up a standard also. Women have a heavy load to carry because you don't let that if you don't let that man treat you like that, you teaching your son right then and there, even if he doesn't have a father in his life.
So the advice that you would give young men is to be respectful and
always be respectful.
Okay.
Learn how to treat them. Treat a woman.
What are some other things that advice you would have for young men that you see that is a concern for having a successful relationship?
Well, learn how having a successful relationship. It's going to require you learning how to be a listener. A lot of times we are distracted because the football game, your partners, little things like that. Learn how to be a listener and talk. Learn your wife. Learn to listen to her. Talk to her. Learn her do's and don'ts. What she like and what she don't like.
A big thing that I hear a lot that from young ladies is finding young men who know how to do things, like change the oil, figure out what's wrong with the car, who know how to do little chores around the house, who don't mind cutting the grass or even know how to, cut the grass and things like that. What advice would you give to young men who don't really know those things? They want to be in a successful relationship, and they may be worried that, well, I don't know how to do all those kind of things, and I don't want to be, embarrassed because I don't know how to do those things.
Well, every man is not a handyman. So for those men that are like that, and you know you like that, get your education so you had the money to pay somebody. You might not deal with it, but you got it done.
That's right. That's it. Or you can hang out with people that know how to do stuff. Go hang out with older men who know how to fix on cars. Know how to change the oil.
Guys, let's just face it. You got some guys, they're not going to get their hands dirty. Period.
Yeah.
But they want a female to cook, clean, keep the kids and all. They want the female to prepare to do her so-called role. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a female role, but it just, they want the woman to cook, clean, take care of the children, grocery shop. Okay. But on the flip side of that, the female wants you to be able to get the oil change, fix the car. If a pipe busts in the house, fix it, or you can go get it fixed, cut the grass. Now, if you can't do that, then you can't expect that woman to do all those things. You can say, this is what a woman's supposed to do. We stereotype things.
Right.
And it's been going on for generations. It's going to always go on. But the bed don't know who mixed it up.
Right.
I wouldn't, I think it's a shame if a woman had to get out there and change her oil. But I have seen people in a relationship where the man won't even go get the woman oil change. She had to go pay for it herself and go take it herself to get her oil change.
And that can be a problem if you're not careful in a successful relationship. You want to be able to fulfill your role as best you can if you're going to be successful.
I just really don't think a lot of these guys don't know their role.
Yeah.
They just don't know.
Right.
And
That's true.
and you really can't hold something over a person's head if they don't know.
Right. And then some women are not holding up a standard either. That's the other problem I've noticed. People don't have a standard or a requirement. And so when you don't have a standard or a requirement, then you just don't get anything. And so if you know that your requirement, one of your requirements is to have a guy who can do those things, then you don't need to be dating or someone who can't do those, because that's going to be a problem, a hindrance to having a successful relationship. Let's move on to the next question, because we're running out of time, but I'm really enjoying having you on our Live Live call tonight. My next question is, a lot of people want to be married. What is a healthy progression to marriage? You know, for me, a healthy progression to marriage is first we court, then we date. You know, we get married, we have, then we enter the sexual aspect of it. And I know there are people who can court, date, and have sex and get married and things still turn out fine. But in your opinion, what is the healthy progression? Because a lot of people get caught up in having sex first, then they want to court, then they want to date, then they get married, and things with the goal of getting married, and things just get jacked up, screwed around. You end up sleeping with a lot of people if you're not careful, if you don't have a healthy progression toward marriage. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I believe that I'm a little on the old-fashioned side on that. I do believe in dating first, and they can be. I don't think anyone should just jump into marriage. So dating a year or so is fine. You know.
What about courting? That's a term a lot of people are not familiar with. Courting's supposed to happen before dating.
Courting's supposed to happen before dating.
Yeah, that's where you basically see, you talk to them and see if they the type of person you want to take to the dating stage. You know, you find out what they like, you know, their history, you know, how they think. You're not questioning them, but you're just paying attention to things about them. And this is a area where a lot of people just are not familiar with courting. They just go straight to dating.
Right, they go straight
courting
to dating.
Courting is where you get to know that person.
Well, in this day and time, everybody just goes straight into dating. Courting is almost a thing of the past. You know, I really feel like you should court first, get to know the person. Try to find out something about their history, and their background. You don't want to get with a psycho person, because a person can only fake you out for so long. The real them gonna come out sooner or later. So I believe that you should court first. Do the courting, do your homework.
Right.
Talk to the person, find out what they're like. There's nothing wrong with going out on just going out to eat. You don't have to call that dating. That still can be courting. But you go out with a group of friends, with a group. You don't have to just be you and that person. You have people, how your friends, how your family feel about that person, how his family feel and pick up about you. Because, like I said, sooner or later, whatever is you is going to come out. So if you do the courting thing first, try courting first. Then if you think, okay, now it's time to move into the dating process.
Right.
All right, now we're dating. I didn't say we're jumping into bed. I said we're dating. All right, after you do the dating, you know, after dating, what comes after dating? What comes behind after dating? You do the courting.
Well, the whole purpose of dating is to lead to marriage.
It leads up to marriage. So now you're preparing yourself for marriage when you're in the dating process. Now, the thing is now, the question now is, how long do you court a person? And if you go past the courting, if you make it to the date, how long do you date them then before you decide to get married?
I think until you get all your questions and your answers that you need. A lot of folks, they sleep with people and they don't even know really who they are, who their people are, what's their history, what their favorite food, favorite color is, when their birthday. They're not already jumped into bed before they find out all those things. How many children you want to have? Do you, we don't know how. That's too fast. How many people have you slept with? Those type of questions.
Well,
what do you want in your future?
Now, these are good questions to ask a person, but will a person really be truthful with you?
Well, I'm like Dr. Phil Grover. You pay attention to what's not said. I hear what people say, but I also pay attention to I pay attention and listen to what they didn't say. And I know when you're courting, you don't want to come across as aggressive and just like you're cross-examining them. But there's a good, clever, smooth way to find out things about people without making them feel like you're interviewing them for a job or something. But I think a relationship is so serious until you need to find out, who you're with. Do a background check to a certain extent, but in a sly way, in a covert way, so to speak. Because you don't want to find out later you don't slept with a person and you find out they don't have some homosexual relationship, and you just finding out. Well, there may have been a question that should have been asked way before, your intimacy session with that person. These are the questions. You have to pay attention to how they spend money, those type of things. And so, why did they break up with other girls or guys that they were with? Because that will give you a clue of maybe their behavior with dating and relationships. So, those are the things. You know what, Grover? We are out of time.
Huh?
We are out of time. Yes. Our 30 minutes has moved so quickly. It has expired, but I have enjoyed having you on this call, and I believe that this discussion will help our callers who are in a dating situation, whether it's healthy or unhealthy. I think the dialogue tonight will give those something to think about, something to share with others who are in relationships, who may be struggling right now, or who may want to take it up to a better, higher level. This information is helpful, and I think it's much needed, and I really thank you and appreciate you for taking the time to sit in with us and to share your heart and your thoughts and your wisdom with us. We're going to have you back again if you will come. Will you come back with us again?
Oh, yes, I will. I enjoyed myself.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a Teachable Life Moment with Keila Bryson, where it is absolutely imperative that you live life. If you would like to connect with me, you may do so. I'm on Facebook at Keila Bryson, Teachable Life Moments, LLC. I'm on Twitter at Keila Savant, or you can visit my website at KeilaBryson.com. If you would like to email me, you can do so. My email address is KeilaBryson.com. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed tonight's call, and I will see you next Monday when it will be November. In the meantime, live life. See you next week, and have a great week.